Sunny Hostin really did it this time, guys. The lady from The View basically said that people will die because of President Donald Trump's cuts to Social Security and Medicaid, all because 10 Democrats voted with Republicans to censure Democratic Texas Representative Al Green for the crazy, wild stunt that he pulled disrupting Trump's congressional address. It doesn't matter that President Trump has repeatedly promised that the two programs will not be cut. Democrats and their mainstream media allies, they're still trying to push the narrative that these programs are somehow in danger. You know what, guys? Like, why don't they just start talking about Sunny Hostin's being accused of insurance fraud, receiving kickbacks for performing surgeries and fraudulently billing the insurance company that provides for Uber and Lyft drivers, as well as taxi companies? Even a former ABC insider pointed out how Sunny Hostin's always the first one to jump down a Republican's throat when they've done anything wrong, and now she's not even talking about it on the show. Pretty hypocritical is what they call the View host. And so that goes double for Democrats, because really it's been their massive expansion of Medicaid that put the program in jeopardy. A series of reports have outlined the growing list of programs at the centers of Medicare and Medicaid services, including improper payments, healthcare funds being used for non-medical expenses, able-bodied adults receiving funds meant for Americans who desperately need it. Former President Joe Biden's CMS massively expanded Medicaid benefits during his sole term, driving Medicaid spending up from $734 billion at the beginning of his term to a whopping $871.7 billion in 2023. They even funneled some of the money to a gender transition service for trans people. Is Sunny Hostin just another hypocrite, or is this a full-blown scandal that the media is ignoring? Type hypocrite Hostin if you think that she's guilty of the same corruption that she attacks others for, or media cover-up if you believe that mainstream media is protecting her. I want to see where y'all stand. But guess what? It's not just that, guys. Democrats are also threatening to shut down the government, even though House Speaker Mike Johnson has given them a clean, continuing resolution that would keep the government open. And as he put it, Democrats just don't get the irony. They love to remind the American people of the perils of a government shutdown, but they're opposing a clean CR that would keep the government open. Like, what's up with that, right? Well, sit tight, guys, because we're really going to get into it today. So let's go ahead and start right here. So first, there's this, guys. The View host Sunny Hostin actually claimed that President Trump will kill people by taking away Social Security and Medicaid. By the way, if you appreciate the updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Check this out.
Censure Green.
Wow. Do you want a list of the 10?
Do you want to hear their names?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Why go after them, too? Go after the Republicans.
Because they don't know how to fight and be part of an opposition party. Representative Green gave them the example. The Democrats are not meeting the moment. It is very clear that Medicaid is on the table. It is very clear that Social Security is on the table. It is very clear that people will die. The baby boomers, the civil rights generation, they knew what they had to do. They were willing to fight and die for their rights. This generation of Congress, they are not meeting the moment. This is an existential crisis.
So yeah, they graduated from calling the president a threat to democracy, and they're now just straight up calling him a killer. Never mind that President Trump has said multiple times that he's not going to touch Medicaid and Social Security. Forget all that, right? Now, for Democrats, the narrative is that he will put us all in danger. Well, what else is due, right? But really, what really touched the nerve for me here is how they're actually mad at the 10 congressional Democrats who voted to censure Democratic Texas Representative Al Green. I mean, the man kept shouting at the president during a very formal address to Congress, even after repeatedly being warned by House Speaker Mike Johnson. So the House rightfully voted for his censure. But the way Sunny Hostin sees it, the Democrats are not meeting the moment, and that they all should have walked out with him. Well, since we're talking about meeting the moment, why doesn't Sunny Hostin meet the moment when her husband gets accused of insurance fraud, huh? I mean, people at ABC News said that it's become a big thing and it's been discussed internally. You see, Sunny Hostin's husband, Manny Hostin, is an orthopedic surgeon, and his practice, Hostin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, were named among the 180 defendants in a major RICO case filed in New York. Now, according to the lawsuit, Hostin and the other Democrats were receiving kickbacks for performing surgeries and fraudulently billing the insurance company that provides for Uber and Lyft drivers, as well as taxi companies. So the lawsuit alleges that Hostin was given an investment interest in the Empire state ambulatory surgery center while receiving a steady stream of patient referrals in return. So why isn't Sunny Hostin talking about this on her show, The View? She hasn't been afraid before of bringing up her background as an attorney to weigh in on major legal stories, most especially the criminal charges that were levied against President-elect Donald Trump. So why not this, right? Then again, their network ABC is probably still hurting from its $16 million settlement with Trump after he sued the network and their host, George Stephanopoulos, for defamation. So I don't know. The way I see it, The View probably needs more lawsuits. So please keep the lawsuits coming. Every one of them helps bring these out of control outlets to account. You know what I mean? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button to show your support, guys. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel too, right along with turning on notifications for the latest content from us. But let's get back to our discussion. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. You see, Democrats, they want so badly to talk about Medicaid, but they don't even want to address the years that they spent expanding the program beyond recognition. I mean, we're talking about fraud, child sex changes, and even healthcare for illegals. I mentioned the reports at the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services about improper payments, healthcare funds being used for non-medical expenses, and able-bodied adults receiving funds that were meant for Americans who desperately needed it. It goes back to the Affordable Care Act being signed by Obama. They expanded coverage to include adults under age 65 with incomes up to 138% of the federal poverty level, meaning roughly 35 million able-bodied adults were enrolled in Medicaid programs while not working as of May 2023. But what really dug Medicaid into a huge hole was Obama's administration expanding coverage for sex change procedures in 2016. So from January 2018 to September 2023, 16 states funneled over $165 million to so-called gender transition services. President Biden made it even bigger. The CMS under his administration approved some states' requests to use Medicaid funds to pay for non-medical expenses for some individuals such as rent, air conditioning, and even food. Just one example here. In April 2024, the federal government approved a request from Massachusetts to use Medicaid funds to pay for up to 6 months of temporary housing for eligible families and pregnant individuals who are mass health members residing in their emergency shelter system. So really, the question isn't whether Republicans are killing Medicaid, it's whether the Democrats killed it already. I mean, you know what I mean, guys? Then again, their party just seems to be immune to irony. Take, for example, this very straightforward continuing resolution from House Speaker Mike Johnson. It's clean. He says nothing fancy, really, just wants everybody's signature to keep the government going until September. But nope, Democrats prefer the government shutting down and delaying people's Social Security checks instead. Now, here's the irony. When they were the ones that were in power, they just love pinning the blame on Republicans for a government shutdown. I mean, just watch this montage from Fox.
Well, the deadline to fund the government is 1 week from today. It's ticking down. And remember, just weeks before Trump took office, this was in December, Democrats accused Republicans of wanting a shutdown.
House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt everyday Americans all across this country.
Republican needs to stop playing politics with a government shutdown.
Thanks to Republicans, we're less than 48 hours away from a Christmas shutdown.
And it'll be their fault that Americans don't get disaster relief, that Americans don't get their Social Security checks.
I want us to take a moment to at least appreciate the fact that we've been able to stop another Republican shutdown of the government.
Democrats don't get irony, right? All the tape is about what they're doing right now. It's a lack of principle, and it's very dangerous. A shutdown doesn't behoove anyone, and the fact that they're trying to orchestrate it illustrates what we said earlier in the first block, that they are flailing. They don't have a vision, a platform, a party. It's in disarray. And they don't have anything else to do. So this is a dangerous thing. We are putting a clean CR on the floor early next week, probably on Tuesday. It will fund the government at current levels because that will allow us, as we said earlier, to make sure all the DOGE cuts and all the new innovations are calculated so we can actually use it in the federal budgeting. That's what they're afraid of, Kaylee. They don't want us to cut down the size and scope of the federal government because they love that, and we don't. And that's the real peril for them. So they don't have a play. They don't know what to do. And it's really interesting to see them eat their own words like that.
So again, the deadline for a partial government shutdown is after midnight on March 14th. Now, what House Speaker Mike Johnson wants to do is a very straightforward continuing resolution, a CR, passed with the help of Democrats. It already has widespread backing in the House Republican Conference and is the product of close coordination with the Trump administration to ensure the government is spending less money. I mean, it all sounds pretty good, right? Well, House Democrats, they want to mess it all up by adding language to basically hamstring President Donald Trump and the Department of Government Efficiency's authority to cut wasteful spending. So in short, they want to dirty up the very clean bill. I mean, this CR, as they call it, it actually reduces spending below fiscal year 2024 levels. And it does not include additional emergency funding, disaster declarations, or any kind of policy riders that have tanked prior stopgap funding bills in the past. Matter of fact, there's even an additional $6 billion for veterans' health cares, and it provides modest increases for defense spending and ICE funding to patch an operating shortfall that started under the Biden administration. Non-defense spending in particular is reduced $13 billion below fiscal year 2024 levels, and the CR also includes a request to rescind $20 billion in IRS enforcement funding. Most importantly, the CR text doesn't touch Medicaid or any mandatory spending programs. But nope. House Democrat leadership, they're still saying that they're going to oppose it. Why? Well, because they said Republicans have chosen to put Social Security, Medicare, Veterans Health, and Medicaid on the chopping block to pay for billionaire tax. They said they cannot back a measure that rips away life-sustaining health care and retirement benefits from everyday Americans as a part of the Republican scheme to pay for massive tax cuts for their wealthy donors like Elon Musk. Medicaid is our red line. Okay, but see, I just said that the CR is not touching Medicaid at all in the bill. I don't even think Medicaid is even like in the bill at all. Like you could do a control find and the word Medicaid, I don't even think it even comes up once. They even had an additional $6 billion for veterans health care. So where are these Democrats coming from with this? And so now with House Democrats just flat out refusing to keep the government going, House Speaker Mike Johnson has to get near unanimity from GOP lawmakers to pass the CR given their 218 to 214 majority. And already Republican Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie announced that he will vote no on a CR. Then again, he usually does vote against government spending bills. He even opposed the GOP budget resolution that narrowly passed the House on February 25th. But seriously, why are Republicans the only ones working in the House? Not to mention this CR will need support from at least 8 Senate Democrats when it reaches the upper chamber. So again, it falls to President Trump to get this job done here. He's already been meeting with the Republican fiscal hawks at the White House to gauge their support for a CR. The House Republicans campaign arm also slammed House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries for coming out against the CR. National Republican Congressional Committee spokesman Mike Marinella, he explained it well, saying that House Democrats admitted that they wanted a government shutdown and now they're following through. They're deliberately making our country less safe and less prosperous just to score some political points. House Democrats will always put politics over people. President Trump spoke out on Truth Social too. He said government funding runs out next week and Democrats are threatening to shut down the government. But he's working with the great House Republicans on a continuing resolution to fund the government until September to give them some needed time to work on their agenda. Now, he also added that conservatives will love this bill because it sets them up to cut taxes and spending in reconciliation, all while effectively freezing spending this year and allowing them to continue to do their work to make America great again. He closed by saying, very important, let's get this bill done. Now, sure enough, House GOP leadership is expected to tee the bill up for a floor vote in the coming week before the government shutdown deadline. Now, we're just going to have to see if Democrats choose to help America instead of harming it. Because let's face it, guys, apart from this whole CR issue, our country can't keep going on Biden's policies. Something's got to be done. We need to move forward with America first. If the judges will stop blocking everything Trump does, maybe we can actually get some things accomplished. You know what I mean, guys? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below. Let me know if I'm making sense to you guys. Also, you can check out our recommended videos coming up in just a second if you want more crucial content like this. Appreciate you guys hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.